That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Good evening, everyone. Happy Labor Day. The Sports Hounds are live exclusively on A2DRadio.com. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby's producing the show. As always, we're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, Instagram, and Twitch. If you miss anything here on the Sports Hounds or any of the live shows here on A2D Radio, just go wherever you get your favorite podcast, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes. Download us, subscribe, share, like, join the chat, tell the world, take over talk. A2D Radio is real. Bunch of big announcements over the weekend. Going to Vegas next August for some fantasy football stuff. Check out details. We got serious satellite radio stuff happening, so that doesn't happen without you guys out there. Remember, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that chat. And don't miss a damn thing here on A2D Radio, especially this time of year. We are, 3 days away from Cowboys-Bucks. We are 6 days away from a full slate of NFL games. And guess what? The first Monday night of the year, Raiders-Ravens out west, 8 o'clock. We'll be live reacting to it right here on the Sports Hounds next Monday night. As always, the Sports Hounds here on A2D Radio are brought to you by our great sponsors, Dr. Paul Fidel, Specialized Physical Therapy. He's our doc. Make him yours too. 2 convenient locations, Burlington and Cherry Hill. SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com/services/concussion. Also brought to you by Body Check Wellness, a line of products that promote wellness, balance, and recovery by using the full potential of hemp. They come in extracts, blends, gummies, and topicals. Use promo code A2D for a now staggering, Brad, 25% off. We got a big show tonight, Brad. Week 1 is upon us. We got some baseball stuff. Maybe we'll touch on some Ben Simmons drama. Yeah, he's not showing up. He's prepared to pay $1 million.
He's an ass.
He's prepared to pay $1 million in fines.
No. She's prepared to pay $1 million in fines. I'm not even going to give him credit for being a man because he's not a man.
He's not.
No.
You're absolutely right about that. But, I mean, I'd just let him sit if I'm the Sixers.
If he doesn't want to get paid, he's pretty foolish.
You're not getting paid. You're getting fined for every practice you missed. If him and his douchebag agent, Rich Paul, think that they can just – manipulate the Rich Paul clients and get them all on one team and have these big super teams, they got another thing coming because Adam Silver's a good commissioner, and I think he's going to have to eventually do something with these super agents with LeBron and all these Rich Paul guys with Clutch Sports, Ben Simmons being one of them. I mean, does Ben Simmons really have the audacity to think he has the power to dictate a situation after the way he played in the playoffs?
Apparently he thinks so.
He has no leg to stand on. If I'm Daryl Morey, I just sent him the game film. Like, dude, this is what your boy did in the playoffs last year.
I mean,
we have
all you're asking him to do is to not shoot 30% from the foul line, and if you have a dunk the ball and not pass the ball to somebody else. I don't get, and he's so butthurt by this that he's going to hold out from practice. Demand to trade to what, the Lakers? Does he want to be with LeBron?
Yeah, because Rich Paul, his agent, is LeBron's agent too.
You know what?
That's their scheme. I don't even know.
Well, LeBron is an old guy.
This guy, Rich Paul, barely.
He's not good enough to win a championship with just one or two players. Now he has to get every player in the league that he wants on his team. I mean,
the thing that chaps my ass about that. Brad, this guy, Ben Simmons, or Rich Paul, that is, this guy barely graduated high school. He's LeBron's best friend. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just advancing LeBron James's agenda, trying to get the best players in the best spots, and it's a bunch of nonsense. Yeah. Anyway, Ben Simmons should call the Sunrise Detox Center because he is in desperate need of mental health help. But if you have addiction issues, mental health issues, contact the counseling center at Sunrise Detox, 856-651-8117. Tell them Tom Arnone sent you. Tell them A2D Radio sent you. Tell them the Sports House sent you. Ben Simmons should be texted that number on Instagram and Twitter ad nauseum from the fam out there because he is mentally
weak. Delusional.
Mentally weak.
Yeah.
What do you think? What does he think if he plays like that? If let's say he gets traded to the Lakers, right? And he plays like that in the playoffs and LeBron doesn't get another one of his championships, LeBron is not going to be happy with him.
LeBron will be crying the entire time.
It's unbelievable. If you want to hop in the chat, talk about Ben Simmons, we'll take that. Phillies, big winner today. They rough up Brandon Woodruff, some afternoon baseball. They remain 1.5 back in the NL East.
Got to be a little frustrating though with the Phillies. I mean,
it's constant Miami. Brad, the Phillies stink. They're gonna play with us the whole year, and they're gonna come up 1 or 2 games short. Like they're just gonna reel you in. They stink. Their roster is lousy. I mean, they hit the ball today off Woodruff, which shocked me. I thought they were gonna have a tough time, especially in Milwaukee. But they got the bats going. They got a win today. But the Braves are a much more talented team. And
but the Braves aren't that good either. I mean,
they're better than the Phillies.
The Braves are only 8 games over 500, which, to be quite honest, is a disgrace for a team to be in first place with that kind of a record. But but here we are, almost first week into September, and this is what the situation is. So. If the Braves are going to continue to play at 8 games over 500, any team could catch them. Hell, the Mets could catch them. Playing 8 games over 500 is not conducive to hanging on to first place in any division.
Madden Playbook King. Yeah, Ben Simmons is really worried about Stephen A. Someone talking. Put that comment back up, Frank. Ben Simmons is really worried about a person talking about him with only 7 live chats. Yeah, he's really worried. How many people are watching your show there, Madam Playbook King? Because you're a loser. You got to come in. If you listen to the top of the show and hear what we going on here at A2D Radio, you would realize that we have big things going on, and it's only going to get bigger. And you're here being a troll, being a loser in the chat. Start your own podcast. See how many views you get, idiot. And if you're a Ben Simmons fan, I got sympathy for you.
Well, you know what?
I have sympathy.
Madden Playbook. You're actually Madden Playbook Queen, and you and your Queen boy, Ben Simmons, can just roll your suitcases out and get out of town because you're.
What's that a picture? What's that a picture of? What's he got? Sneakers in his picture?
What is he? 10 years old?
He's an idiot. He might be actually, and I actually kind of feel bad about making fun of a little kid.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got our poll question up. We got week 1 NFL. We'll get some baseball stuff later. Maybe if any clarity. And look, hey, douchebag, we're up to 10 live views. So look off.
Since when do you get yourself all worked up about some idiot like that?
Because that guy's an idiot. And I felt like ripping him up. All Campus. Our poll question brought to you by All Campus, giving 20% off everything in the store, including hats, shirts, and our team cornhole sets for your subscribers. That's who is sponsoring our poll tonight. Our poll question, we're a national show here. Will your favorite NFL team win their week 1 matchup? Agree, disagree. I'll start representing the Philadelphia Eagles. This team is going to win on Sunday, Brad. The Eagles are going to go into Atlanta. They're going to win the football game. I have a quarterback in Jalen Hurts. I have a potential star receiver in Devontae Smith. They have won a lot of big games in said Georgia Dome in the SEC. I expect them to be very comfortable. I expect a good game from Jalen Hurts. I expect a good game from Devontae Smith. I don't think that Atlanta is going to put up much of a fight in the trenches against you
You must think Atlanta is going to be like a 1-15 team if you actually believe that.
I don't think Atlanta's good.
Well, what makes you think the Eagles are? The Eagles are not good either.
What I just said.
Two lousy teams.
I don't think the Eagles are a lousy team. I don't think the Eagles are necessarily a good team, but I don't think the Eagles
have you seen
are
what
a
they're
lousy
saying
team.
Vegas about them?
What's that?
Have you seen what Vegas has been saying about them?
Who's Vegas? I have 6.5. I have 6.5 wins on.
Yeah, I've seen more like 5.5 from some
Look,
place.
Brad, we can go down this rabbit hole again. We got 2 hours. We'll talk about everything. We'll talk about the whole league. 2 teams, I will guarantee you, will not win the NFC East, and that's the New York Giants, who stink, who absolutely stink.
But they're much better. But they are much better.
No, they're not.
Eagles.
Absolutely not.
No,
the Philadelphia Eagles will get. I guarantee you, the Eagles will win.
Devontae Smith is. Wait a minute. Okay, let me get this straight. Devontae Smith, who's never played a game, is better than Galladay, who's been a Pro Bowl receiver.
Kenny Galladay, he woke up this morning with a headache and he's going to miss the game. I mean, he's always hurt.
He hasn't played a game yet. He hasn't played a game yet, and you're putting him. You're telling
free agents that cash in big. I don't trust that. I don't think
he's going to be a Pro Bowl receiver.
Kenny Galladay will not make the Pro Bowl this year. Absolutely not. Do you see?
Devontae Smith will.
I didn't say Devontae Smith was going to make the Pro Bowl.
Devontae Smith is not anything yet.
I said he was going to have a big game Sunday because him and Jalen Hurts are comfortable in that setting. Playing in the SEC, and Atlanta doesn't have that good of a defense. If they do win, be able to score points on Sunday.
If you think that they're going to win more than 6 games, then you guys are just completely out to dinner.
I am over 6.5. I predicted 8 and 9 last week, and then nothing has happened in the last week that has shown me otherwise. Giants ain't winning, Brad.
What happens when the old age home? Like what happens when the old age home opens up the doors and all your guys get hurt? And then you're gonna be signing guys off the street by the middle of the season because you're so old.
Depends on what injuries are going to happen. Everyone gets injured. It's the NFL. It's a violent sport. Even though
when you have the oldest defense in the league, that's what's going to happen. You're going to be losing 3/4 of your defense. You're going to be like, what happened?
I have hockey lines on my defense. I have a hockey team playing my defensive line. I got bringing guys in. No one's going to. They're going to be fresh. They're going to be effective, especially in a week 1 game where the Atlanta Falcons 1,000% can't match my Philadelphia Eagles in the trenches. These are going to dominate in the trenches. Jalen Hurts is going to play good. Devontae Smith's going to play good. The Eagles are going to win the game. They're getting 3.5 points. It's an outright victory. The Eagles are going to be 1-0.
Okay. If you say
that's how I see the game. How can you scoff at
because the Eagles stink.
The Falcons. Oh my God, the Falcons. Matt Ryan.
They're too young.
Old age. How old is Matt Ryan?
They're too old on defense. Their quarterback blows. Our quarterback is way better than your quarterback.
No, he's not.
At least our quarterback has some semblance of a team, and he can throw the ball to his wide receivers. Your guy hasn't proven anything. He's stunk. He won 1 game last year, and then he sucked the rest of the season.
So was he supposed to step in, take the league by storm with a bad football team? A disaster of a head coach, a disaster of a coaching staff, a disaster of a defensive coordinator. I mean, say what you want about the Eagles receivers this year. Their pass catchers this year are Jerry Rice and Steve Largent compared to what they had last year. We didn't have guys that could run routes.
Okay.
Devontae Smith can run routes. Zach Ertz is back. He can run routes. Goddard can run routes for me. We actually have a head coach that's going to utilize the strength of our players.
He's never coached.
Zach Ertz and Dallas Goddard are actually going to be on the same.
He's never been a head coach.
We're going to run 12 personnel more than we ever had under Doug.
Never even been a head coach.
That's what happened.
So he's Vince Lombardi. I mean, this is how you guys always say.
I said they were
overrate every one of your teams. No matter how bad they are,
8 and 9 is overrating. 8 and 9 prediction is overrating. The Giants stink. They're weak in the trenches. They have a bad quarterback, and they're going to
have a very good quarterback this year, who's going to be a lot better than the crap that you guys are sending out right now.
The Giants not winning the division. I'll bet you whatever you want that they don't win the division. The Washington football team is not winning the NFC East. either because of the first place schedule we've been talking about for weeks now. It's way too hard, and Washington is not that good.
I admit that it's the Cowboys' division to win or lose this year. I agree with that, but the Cowboys are not world beaters either.
So I mean, I don't understand how you can say that going down to Atlanta and winning a football game that
So you're gonna go on the road with this garbage team, with a garbage quarterback, and you're gonna go on the road.
I don't know how garbage it is. I will
he's better
concede
than Matt Ryan. Is he better than Matt Ryan?
You just told me how my guys can't play because they're old. Matt Ryan's 38 years old.
Yeah, but he's still a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts will ever be. Even at 38,
a couple years ago.
Oh, at 38, he's still better. What has Jalen Hurts done?
And Kyle Pitts at 4, tight ends in the top 10, never work out. Mike Davis is their starting running back. They're going to be super one-dimensional.
Who's your running back?
Miles Sanders. He's way better than
you mean the man who fumbles 50,000 times?
Well, he's got to clean that up, and this is put up or shut up time for Miles Sanders. But I think he's going to have a good year. I think he's going to have opportunity. Doug wouldn't commit to the run. And I know everyone wants to crown Doug because he won a Super Bowl. And it's the only one we've ever seen. It's like the first time you had sex with someone. Like they were the greatest thing since sliced bread until you got out there and you met other girls that these girls are cool too. Maybe I'll chance with them. Doug was just the first piece of poon we ever got. So everyone fell in love with him when he really, in retrospect, wasn't that great of a coach. He was a player's coach, which never lasts in this league. He was a bad play caller. He was a bad game planner.
Lasted a long time in this league.
If you look at the greatest coaches of all time, they weren't players' coaches at all.
No, you're right about that. But Andy Reid's been a pretty good coach, and he's a player.
He's probably the exception to the rule. But
So,
I mean, he's stern with his players. Andy Reid. He can't be around as long as
he's not. I don't think anybody is not stern with their players.
Doug wasn't. That's why he's out of the league with a Super Bowl ring in 4 years? It's a joke. Doug
There's
wasn't
something to be said about that.
Dopey Doug was not a good coach. Period.
There's something to be said about that.
The fact that he didn't even get a sniff with a Super Bowl ring at another job.
No, I said there is something. As I said, there is something to be said about that.
I have Nick Sirianni, who I'm excited about. I think he's going to be able to game plan. Like Carson Wentz last year. He's the best quarterback in the league out of the pocket. Doug won't move him out of the pocket. When he does move him out of the pocket, he's successful. Nick Sirianni is going to use Jalen Hurts and his strengths. He's going to use Miles Sanders and his strengths. Miles Sanders averaged 140 yards when he gets 20-plus touches. And you have Doug, who didn't commit to the run. It was just a comedy of errors under Doug Peterson. This franchise went in the toilet under Doug Peterson.
They were really, really bad last year. Before I give the Eagles any kind of credit, they're going to have to earn my respect because they were awful last year. Bad would be a compliment. The fact that you couldn't beat the Cincinnati Bengals at home really says all that needs to be said.
We didn't lose that game either.
Yeah, but you got a tie, and come on, you should be beat with with the players you had in your team. That's just
we had inferior coaching, and our GM, I think he got some good draft picks in this draft, but he took a couple years off. Just didn't draft players that could play. So, I say this like the Eagles have glaring weaknesses: safety, corner, linebacker, receiver,
and they've got an old defensive line.
There's young guys mixed in there though that you're not giving any credit to.
But the guys that you're counting.
Fletcher Cox at 30, is that old
for defensive linemen? Yeah, actually it is. To say that he's in his prime, he's not in his prime anymore.
He's at the tail end of his prime.
He's kind of like Slay. Okay, there'll be games where he's going to be good, but for the most part, he'll be average, and then he'll have some below average games because he's getting old.
But you have a team in the Philadelphia Eagles that there's substance to this roster. These Colin Cowherds, USA Today, Sports Illustrated say this team is going 3-14. I'm not buying that one bit at all.
Okay.
They're going to be a much better football team than 3-14. They will not be a doormat this year. I
I
guarantee.
don't know that they're going to be 3-14, but I don't see more than 5 to 6 wins at the most.
I would bet.
I think they're expecting them to win a road game, first game of the season. I don't know that that's going to happen. They sure as hell didn't look very good in the preseason, although I know preseason doesn't mean anything, and none of the quarterbacks were playing.
None of these new age coaches play any of their guys in the game.
No, I know that.
Everybody's the same. So what's the point? You're going to see a lot of unders in the first half.
Interesting though, that do you realize between the Cowboys, Giants, and Eagles, and I don't know what the Washington football team did in the preseason, but neither the Eagles, the Giants, nor Washington won a preseason game this year.
Who cares?
I'm just making a point that
I think the Eagles tied one, if I'm not mistaken. I think they tied the Jets.
Oh, they tied the Jets?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it just got and I don't know because I don't care about preseason football because it's totally meaningless.
Preseason doesn't mean and since they play each other, they're not going to do anything to give away any of their secrets anyway. So
that's fine. So you're going to see a lot of bad football in the first half of Sunday afternoon.
Oh, I think you're right.
A lot of bad football. I might bet every under, honestly. None of these guys have played. But I do think the one game I don't like the under in is the Philadelphia-Atlanta game. And if you want to look at Vegas as an indicator, I'm getting 3.5 points with the Eagles. That's obvious because you're getting the hook. Most popular margin of victory in the NFL is 3 points. So anytime you're getting that 3.5, or you can buy that 3.5, you should absolutely do that. And I see a total approaching 55. That those indicators to me indicate an outright winner for a dog, which the Eagles are. And I like teams with new coaches in week one. I don't even know who coaches Atlanta, nor do I care. I think Atlanta stinks. But, I think the Eagles win week one. They get schnockered in week two against the San Francisco 49ers. They're just not on that level. And then you got a showdown in Big D on Monday Night Football in week 3 on the road. Division game. And we'll see they're going to be contending this division.
We'll see where the Cowboys are at that point.
Well,
no guarantee there, especially with regard to Dak. I know that Dak is recovering from the ankle injury from last year, but they're saying something about there's something up with his shoulder. I don't know.
Well, Brad, over the weekend, they announced that all-pro guard Zach Martin has COVID, and he's not going to be able to play on Thursday. So that's a devastating injury. Lyle Collins might not even be able to play either. So, it's the same year.
I don't think it would matter against Tampa Bay. They're not beating Tampa Bay. But I'm just saying for the second week against the Eagles.
If you're trying to not get Dak Prescott knocked around, it would be key to have your offensive line intact, and it's already not intact, and they haven't even played one game.
Nope.
All right, Brad. So you're representing the New York Giants tonight as your favorite football team. They're playing the New York Giants. We got a 4:00 start in the Meadowlands. The Giants are actually home dogs to the Giants, which is the epitome of disrespect. You want to talk about the disrespect from Vegas? The Giants are home dogs to Teddy Bridgewater and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, just think how much
oozing with disrespect. Disrespect.
You'd be dogs too against them. So I don't know what you're talking about. You're going to be favorites against Denver, right?
Well, we have to play in Denver, so I don't know. I picked Denver to be a wild card last week. I don't know. I might revise that before this show's over. But I think they have a good team. No, because our game's in Denver, so we won't be favored against Denver.
Yeah, you're not going to be favored against Denver. I
look at the week 2 line, Brad, and they're only 4.5 point dogs to San Francisco at home.
But they're at home,
right? So that tells me that if Denver came to the link,
that could also change after they get their brains beat in by Atlanta. So we'll see.
All right, so Daniel Jones, pretty good roster there in Denver, Brad.
They got a good defense. I'll give you that. Not really worried about their offense. We'll see. I think the Giants should be able to pull this game out. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. If the Giants can keep the turnovers to a minimum and force Teddy Bridgewater into mistakes, which he will make, I think the Giants can win this game. It's going to be a low-scoring game. I look at 17-14, 20-17, something along those lines. Giants still have a very good defense, which is going to get even better this year. Like the Giants in this spot. You know, they're not playing.
Do you really think your defense is all that in a bag of chips? You think your defense is going to be able to cover up the deficiencies of your offensive line and Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley maybe not being healthy?
I think our defense is pretty good.
Pretty good, but you need with Daniel Jones, who's garbage, by the way, Brad, and an offensive line that's not going to do anything to protect Daniel Jones because they stink too.
They're going to run.
You need your defense to be elite. Hold on, you need your defense to be elite, not just pretty good.
They're going to run the ball with Saquon Barkley, who, by the way, they didn't have last year, and they'll be fine. I think they've got much better receivers now. I mean, I think they can do what Pittsburgh did last year to cover up the deficiencies on their offensive line and do quick passes. They've got the speed to be able to do that at wide receiver. I think Kadarius Toney is going to be a big bonus for that team. I think you're going to see a lot of good stuff out of him. I think that between him and Galladay, there's going to be some offense from Daniel Jones throwing the ball to these guys. I think you're going to see a few things that they've not been able to do because they just simply haven't had the talent to be able to do them. But, Kenny's and Benny's Nation. Benny, you do realize that the Giants have probably one of the top 5 cornerbacks in the NFL right now, right? So just so that you know, because obviously you know nothing about football outside of Philadelphia. The Giants have very good corners, so I'm not really worried about those guys. Denver's offense is not a lot to worry about. Their defense scares me because if they can get in and create havoc with the Giants' offensive line, that could be a problem.
The only chance you guys have in this game is because you're at home.
Well, they have a chance because the Giants aren't that bad. They've got a lot of better players, especially offensively. They've got a lot more weapons. Now, Evan Ingram is not going to play, which are we surprised about that? No. He's
always hurt.
Yeah, exactly. So that to me is no big deal. They should be fine tight end. You know, they got some good tight ends. Kyle Rudolph is going to be playing now, so I think they'll be fine there. Again, Toney should be a big part of this offense as well as Galladay. I think the Giants are going to be fine. I think they'll score enough points to win this game. As I said, going to be a close game. The Giants' offense is not going to blow out a team like Denver, because Denver's defense is tough. But the Giants will find a way to score some points, and they're going to win this game.
Anyway, before Sunday, highly recommend becoming an A2D member. It's $9.99 in a month. You get some amazing perks, including shout-outs, members-only shows, appearances, and weekly picks from the Money Pop Podcast. Join today. Check out the Money Pop Podcast every Sunday, exclusively here on A2D Radio, 10 a.m. Absolute must-listen as you're trying to get your last-minute bets in, maybe some last-minute futures bets in regarding the National Football League. All right, you heard from us. I got a win for the Eagles. Brad's got a win for his Giants. Who's your favorite team? Are they going to win on Sunday? We're talking about all the games. We'll get the baseball later. And if anything happens on the Ben Simmons front, we'll bring it to you.
Rob, your NFL lock of the week this week.
My lock of the week.
Your lock of the week with the point spread, of course.
Let me get some comments, and then we'll look. Then I'll look at it. I got to sift through. So I have 5 games circled, and I don't know which one.
There's one to me that seems to be an easy one. And that is the Arizona Cardinals at Tennessee, and I've seen the line anywhere between 2.5 and 3 points. I think that's an easy win for the Tennessee Titans.
I'm not a Cardinals fan. I'm not a fan of Kyler Murray.
No, and that Tennessee defense is definitely going to keep him at bay. I mean, they're used to chasing good quarterbacks around, as evidenced by what they had to do against the Ravens last year. Certainly, they did enough against the Ravens to win the game defensively. They just couldn't score. But the Arizona Cardinals are not the Ravens on defense, and I think you are going to see abuse from the running back position of the Tennessee Titans.
I mean, is Tannehill cleared? I mean, he had COVID.
Yeah, well, I think anybody could probably play quarterback for this team next week, especially when you have Julio Jones to throw the ball to now. I mean, that team should just crush the Cardinals.
All right, so Brad likes the Titans.
Love that game. I think that would be my lock of the week. Now, if it goes up to 3.5, you might want to buy that half point back. But if it's at 3, Cardinals are not going to win that game.
Rosca's in the house. He's got his Chargers. He's got his Rams on Sunday. Rams is the first Sunday night game of the year.
The Rams and the Bears.
I think that game could get ugly. That'll be in my contention.
I love the Rams in that game. I believe the line's 7. Is it not?
That's fine. Well, I'm not taking the Bears seriously at all.
No.
Or even thinking about putting, I would be wary. A great receiver like Allen Robinson, a pretty good running back like David Montgomery. I would be wary of even putting them in my fantasy football lineup while Andy Dalton is the starting quarterback. Call me when they wise up and put Justin Fields in. Then maybe I can take them.
Against a team like the Rams, though, I think they might be doing the right thing, Rob. I don't know that it's.
You're not going to be able to move the ball. Andy Dalton stinks.
I understand that, but I mean, Justin Fields' first game, against the Rams.
Let the kid play.
I think that's not the team you want him to play his first game against.
He's going to have to play him eventually.
Yeah,
trial by fire. Big trial by fire guy.
But don't you want, when you have a rookie quarterback who you expect to be your franchise quarterback to take over the team and you have very, very high hopes for him, I think you want to start his career, in a little bit better of position.
Why? You got to coddle him and give him a hug. Teams are good in the NFL. They hit hard.
Yeah, but I know it's not that as much as the Rams defense is kind of a tough defense for.
Well, you got no chance. You got no chance to beat the Rams with Andy Dalton as your quarterback.
But they're not going to beat him. They're not going to beat him with Justin Fields either.
I would give him a puncher's chance with Justin Fields in, because maybe he's good. Maybe he hits the ground running, and maybe he makes some things happen for you. Because they got a pretty good defense.
They do have a good defense. I agree with you. But the Rams right now, and as I've already said it before, I think the Rams are a Super Bowl champion this year, and I just think that that's not the team. If I have a rookie quarterback, I don't think I'd want him playing his first game against the Rams. I would prefer to get him in a little bit easier situation than that. Yeah, that's just me. I mean, some teams do that, some teams don't do that. I don't think it's in the best interests to let that guy go out there against a team like the Rams and have to get schooled by Jalen Ramsey and get whacked by Aaron Donald. I think there's better times for him to come in to play his first game. So I'm not totally against the Bears not playing him week 1. I can understand that. Maybe if you want to play him in the second half, okay. If the score's a little bit out of hand, it's like 21-0, and then you want to put him in, okay. That I might agree with you on, but I wouldn't start him that game. That's a tough way to go.
Yeah, Ted. I mean, Matt Nagy, he seems to think that he made a promise to Andy Dalton that he was going to be the starter, that he needs to honor his promise and not play the best player and lose his job in the process. He's a moron. He's a bona fide moron.
Panthers winning at the Jets at the Panthers. Yeah, I would agree.
Panthers minus 5.5 in that one.
Yeah, I think the Panthers. The Panthers should. I think they'll cover that game. The Jets have a lot to prove to me as well. Until they actually show me that they can be competitive on the road this year, I wouldn't trust them in any game. Now, if if you're the Bears and you were playing the Jets week 1, I would definitely play Fields.
What's the difference? I don't understand this argument from you.
Because you want the guy to get off to a good start and get confidence.
I know. So he
important
can
thing.
have Cuddle Club and everything can be fine and good and dandelions and rainbows and blowjobs. That's not what the NFL is.
Well, Rob,
That's what the NFL is.
Rob, a lot of guys sat for a whole season before they.
Carson didn't. Russell Wilson didn't. Peyton Manning didn't. Get him in there. Figure it out. Because if you don't have your franchise guy, you got to figure it out soon.
Some guys did do it. Aaron Rodgers sure as heck didn't do it.
Emilio DiCasio, I'll take all those draft picks from Sacramento and Buddy Hield all day. Make that trade. Whatever. Just get Ben Simmons out of my face. He's a loser. He's cancer. He's scum. His agent's a loser. His agent's cancer. His agent's scum. I want Ben Simmons and Rich Paul out of this city. And I know Rich Paul probably has some other clients on the Sixers, but Ben Simmons takes the cake in terms of the poster child for mental weakness in today's athletic society. He
is, without a doubt.
Mike Parker, you can't dictate where you go when you're a mush in the playoffs. Absolutely right. I don't know what Ben Simmons thinks. I don't understand what leverage.
Ben Simmons thinks he's a lot better player than what he is. Okay, I mean, I think he held you guys back last year. If he had a reasonable playoff, you'd probably be in Game 7 against the Bucks. Whether you beat the Bucks or not, I don't know. The Bucks are playing great at the end of the season. They really were, but you wouldn't have lost to Atlanta. Should not have lost to Atlanta. The Sixers have a better team than Atlanta. That shouldn't have happened.
Emilio, he also thinks he's still trying to figure out why everyone is so high on the Niners. I think the Eagles beat them also. The Niners are really good. They have a lot of good pieces there. They
also had a lot of injuries last year, in case you forgot. 2 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, and they were very, very competitive for 55 of those 60 minutes. So you may want to, just go back in time a little bit and try to remember, because all these guys are healthy now. And that's not that is not an old team. They're still a pretty young team. They're going to be real, real tough this year.
Ryan sorry, Ryan. Ryan, he's checking in on YouTube. I think the Eagles are going to have 10 or 11 wins. I can't get there. I thought I was pretty generous last week with 8. Flawed football team, but elite. Right. See, because the Eagles, they stink. Their secondary has questions. Their linebackers have questions, and the receivers have questions. But there are borderline aspects of this team that are borderline elite. I think Miles Sanders is going to have a good year. I think you have great tight ends, and I think you're really strong in the trenches. Those 3 ingredients don't add up to a 3-14 dumpster fire like Colin Cowherd, USA Today, and Sports Illustrated are predicting. That's not going to happen.
Problem is they're old in some very, very tough areas in the trenches on both sides of the ball. So we'll see. They have to stay healthy.
Benny's Nation. Jones can't throw the ball from his back, which is what he'll be doing with that piss poor offensive line. That's a good point by Benny. Good point by Benny.
Jones can run.
Yeah, he's going to be running for his
life.
Move
around. Jones is not Eli Manning. He doesn't have cement in his legs, so you don't have to worry about that. He can get away. He can get away from the pass rush. He has very good ability. In case you forgot, did run for almost 400 yards last year.
Johnny Coyle's in the house. Question, but NFL outdated. Can great receivers make QBs better?
Of course they can.
Can
great quarterbacks make receivers look better?
Yes, they can. That's different though.
How's it different? Listen, as great as Joe Montana and Steve Young were, you don't think it didn't help that they had Jerry Rice to throw the ball to? Didn't hurt.
No, it didn't hurt, but a quarterback can either play or he can't. and I don't think Daniel Jones can play. I don't think these additions of Kenny Golladay and Kyle Rudolph and Sterling Shepard in the mix there and Tooney, who you guys drafted, I don't think that's enough to.
And Slayton,
who I actually like.
They got some good receivers.
I don't think that's enough. I don't think that's enough to make Daniel Jones look good. I don't. I think he stinks.
Well, but he didn't have anybody to really throw to last year, and there were several games.
Carson Wentz didn't have anyone to throw to last year.
Carson Wentz also was not accurate last year. I don't know what happened to him. Carson Wentz's head exploded last year. I can't understand what happened with him last year. I mean, and it started right after the Eagles got that 17-0 lead in the first game of the season. I mean, he looked terrific for the first 3 drives, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened. He threw that interception, and then, in the first half, I'm sure you remember that game. But it seems like he threw that interception, and it's just like after that, it seemed like the whole season just fell apart for him.
Benny's Nation, we're playing for the Falcons, not the Bucks, and Matt Ryan doesn't have Julio to throw the ball to. They're a weaker team.
Well, they're weaker.
This is a team that was the 4th pick in the draft. This is a team that was worse than the Philadelphia Eagles, because the Eagles had the 6th pick, landed the 4th pick. They trade Julio Jones. They take a tight end that I don't believe in, because tight ends in the top 10 never work out. And this is an unwinnable game for the Eagles, according to Brad. I don't get it. I don't get your logic.
Because the Eagles stink. That's why. And you're not understanding.
Atlanta stinks more.
They
lost players.
But the Eagles are not a good football team. You're not.
The Eagles brought in Eric Wilson. They brought in Anthony Harris. They brought in Devontae Smith. They brought in Landon Dickerson. They drafted Milton Williams. They have Ertz back. Like Atlanta. What did Atlanta do?
How did Ertz do last year? He wasn't very good last year.
He was hurt. So all the Niners are going to be great bouncing back, but none of the Eagles can bounce back and have good years.
The Niners had significantly more talent than the Eagles. Plus, they've got the best tight end in the NFC right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as far as tight ends go, Kittle is second to none right now in the NFC.
Benny Nation has higher hopes for Gannon than anyone else on this staff, including Sirianni. Yeah, I love Jonathan Gannon. He's our new defensive coordinator. These cookie cutter, one-size-fits-all defenses, play the sticks on 3rd and long, bullshit schemes from Jim Schwartz are out of here. I don't understand how a Jim Schwartz defense played how they did in 2017. Guy's a total joke. He runs one play, Brad. We're going to have innovative, cutting-edge defensive schemes from Jonathan Gannon. Now, whether he has the players to execute those schemes, that remains to be seen. But the Eagles are going to blitz. The Eagles are going to be aggressive. The Eagles are going to be tough to game plan for, which hasn't been in the case for this defense since the Jim Johnson era, outside of one season in 2017.
Jim Johnson was terrific. He was one of the best.
I'm not comparing. I'm not trying to compare.
You're asking an awful lot.
No, I'm not asking for an awful lot. I'm asking him to do better than Jim Schwartz.
Ted, would you rather have Hurts or Jones? I would take Jones over Hurts every day of the week.
Yeah, I'll take Jalen Hurts.
Richard Hurts is just that. He is Richard Hurts, and you're going to be calling him Richard Hurts every week because he stinks. Sorry, guys. He stinks. Get it through your heads. He is the 41st rated quarterback in the NFL right now.
He's not the 41st best quarterback in the league. He's much higher than that. He's a top 32 quarterback. That's the start.
Right.
That's the start.
According to what I read.
Start with no 2021 sample size. He's a top 32 quarterback.
Okay. He better be. Not that it matters. The Eagles this year are not really playing to win, and they kind of have proven that. They'll be better next year when they draft one of those great quarterbacks that are going to be available.
Well, guess what? I got news for you. If you watched any college football over the weekend, the QB draft stock of all those guys went way down.
Well, there was one of them is pretty good.
Well, Sam Howell from UNC was totally embarrassed on Friday night. UNC couldn't even get a first down. They were a top 10 team. The guy from Alabama, Bryce Young, he looked great, but I don't think he can come out of the draft until 2 years from now. USC didn't.
Alabama, quarterbacks that go to Alabama. How many of them are really great in the NFL, though?
Well, we'll see, because Mac Jones is starting. Tua is starting in Miami, and Jalen Hurts is going to start in for Philadelphia, but in Atlanta. I know Jalen Hurts had some time with Lincoln Riley there in Oklahoma, but the base of his skills were developed by Nick Saban, and so we'll see. So far, not. I mean,
I thought he played better in Oklahoma, to be honest.
It's way easier to play in the Big 12 than the SEC.
Agreed.
They don't play any defense.
No, I'm just saying. I thought he played better.
I mean, this has been a problem for Alabama way before Nick Saban. I mean, who's the last great Alabama quarterback?
Namath.
In what, 60s?
65.
Is that when did he play at Alabama?
Huh?
When did he play at Alabama? He might have played at Alabama in the 50s.
No, I think he played in the early. I think he played for Alabama in the early 60s, didn't he?
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
I have to look it up. I mean,
Brian Wilson's in the house. He thinks the Eagles are going to lose, but we'll see. I mean, if they lose this game, then it's probably going to be a really long season, and 3-14 might be, because Atlanta is not impressive. They're not strong in the trenches. They don't have a good coach. They have an aging quarterback. They don't have a good defense. They don't have Julio Jones. They don't have a running game. Like, I really fully expect this team to take care of business on Sunday on the road.
I know we get to play them week 4 at home.
So, Atlanta. Yeah, you guys should beat it. Even I think the Giants blow, and I would predict that the Giants would beat Atlanta, no matter where the game's played.
Giants are pretty bad on the road too, so I don't know. They've been bad on the road. We'll see. If Atlanta's really that bad, you'll find out. You'll find out 1 p.m. Sunday.
David Roska, the Buccaneers will beat Dallas. Yeah, I think that's a foregone conclusion with the offensive line injuries. Now,
is Roska a Rams fan?
He's an LA fan.
So I think he'd be a Rams fan. You should be very high on the Rams there, David.
Yeah, he likes the Chargers too. He was commenting about them earlier. I think the Chargers are extremely overrated, but we'll see. I could be wrong.
Tell you what, that's going to be a very interesting Week 1 game between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Redskins. I mean,
you want to talk about best bets. I love the Skins in that game. I love them.
It's a 1-point spread. I think the Skins are getting
Skins are getting one.
The football team is getting 1 point at home.
They're the Skins, because I was on a bachelor party this weekend with a Skins fan, and he calls them the Skins. So they're the Skins. I don't care.
Okay. They're getting 1 point. That's going to be an interesting game.
I know it's week 1, so like the rough and tumble travel rigors of the NFL schedule haven't really ramped up yet, but I like that
West Coast teams don't usually play well
at 1 o'clock on Sunday.
Yeah,
unless the game's at 4. Like the Broncos are going to be fine against the stinky Giants because the game starts at 4. They didn't allow the Chargers that luxury. They had to play at 1 in Washington. Now you can combat that a little bit by coming in early, but Chargers don't have a good offensive line. The Chargers don't have a between the tackles run game that I believe in. The Chargers don't have a receiver.
They're going to have a problem running the ball against Washington, but I think every team in the league is going to have a problem.
I agree with that. I don't think they have. I don't think they have a receiver past Keenan Allen that I fully trust. And their defense is okay, but I mean, I think Washington's defensive line, which is maybe the best in the whole league, Brad, is going to have they're going to have a field day against a kind of average offensive line for the Los Angeles Chargers. I love Washington in that game.
Well, don't count out Justin Herbert. I think he's
a good player.
If he can get enough time, I don't think Washington has great corners. I don't think their secondary is all that great. I'm not taking anything away from their defensive line. Their defensive line is terrific. If he can get enough time to get the ball out and to these guys, I think they can do damage. I think that the Chargers are going to win that game.
Color coded.
To be honest with you, the Chargers are one team I never actually would put money on because they're like one of those teams that something always just seems to go wrong. If you know what I mean.
It's true. Color coded. Checking us out on YouTube. Thanks for checking us out. They rank Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance higher than Hurts, who have yet to play a damn regular season game, which is a joke. Now, Trevor Lawrence, I'll give them. Trevor Lawrence is better than Jalen Hurts. If you wouldn't trade Jalen Hurts for Trevor Lawrence as an Eagles fan, you got to get your head examined. But Zach Wilson has bust written all over it. I love Justin Fields, but I would rank Jalen Hurts above Justin Fields right now. I would Mac Jones. I don't. Well, Cam Newton's not really anything special, so I understand that. Them cutting Cam Newton and going with Mac Jones, go with the youth because they weren't very good last year. But Mac Jones is not better than Jalen Hurts with no sample size, and Trey Lance is not better than Jalen Hurts with no sample size either.
You can't really rank any of those guys. It's not even fair to rank any of those guys right now because they haven't played a game yet.
I know, but people do rank them. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I can't.
Say that Jalen Hurts is the 41st ranked quarterback in the league is ridiculous.
Let's put it this way: I'm not gonna rank Lawrence or Jones or Wilson ahead of Hurts yet. They haven't played yet. How do you can't do because you don't know. I mean, it's the NFL is totally different than college. How many great quarterbacks in college came to the NFL and didn't do anything?
Chucks, host of Birds of a Feather. Check him out tomorrow night. He's got the Eagles losing to Atlanta. I mean, wow. I mean, I guess the talent here at A2D Radio. I mean, if you have them losing to Atlanta, on Sunday, a team that had the 4th pick in the draft, 2 spots ahead of your pick, and they picked a tight end, which never works out. Ugh. They must really think the Eagles are going to stink. I don't know where you're finding wins. If you're playing the talk radio game, win-loss, and you don't have a win this weekend for the Eagles, boy, you must really think they're going to have the 1st pick in the draft. You must think that you're on the USA Today Colin Cowherd recipe where you think they're going to win 3 games. I don't see that. I think this team's going to be much, much closer to 500 than people think. Michael O'Donnell, I'm taking Tampa Bay over Dallas because Brady has owned them over the years. Everybody owns Dallas. They stink. Tampa's going to roll in that game.
Tampa is going to roll everybody. Although I do think that Tampa is going to get off to a slow start. I think it's going to be kind of like last year, where they're going to be winning games, but not impressively. And then by the middle of the season, then they'll start rolling. I think it's going to take them a little while to get rolling, though. Just my feeling after last year watching them.
Yeah, if you're in a suicide pool or a knockout pool, I think Tampa would be the most obvious play.
This week?
Yeah.
Over Los Angeles?
That's at home. That's in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one, too.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton's going to beat the Rams in LA. Boy.
Benny's Nation, he thinks the Niners are a lock at 7.5, minus 7.5. I don't like picking teams on the road in knockout pools. And I don't like laying 7.5. I don't like betting against 7.5 point home dogs. even though I do think the Lions are dreadful. I do think the Lions have an awful head coach. I think the Lions have an awful quarterback. I'm not laying 7.5 points.
You know, 49ers,
not laying 7.5 points there.
The 49ers could cover that, though.
They might.
They could. I mean, listen, that's not a game I would bet on because I feel the same way you do about laying a lot of points because that's a lot of points for a road team. I mean, the Lions, the first few weeks, I think they're going to be competitive. I don't think you're going to start. They're not going to get murdered at home week one. I think they're going to come out and they're going to play with an edge and they'll give it their best shot. Now, I don't think they're going to get slaughtered.
Greg Milakovic, he also thinks the Eagles are going to lose week one on the road in Atlanta.
Rob, a lot of people do not have the faith in Jalen Hurts.
Where do these? I don't have faith in Jalen Hurts either. I don't know.
The problem is
about him.
He commits a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, he's gonna have to clean that up. I expect Jalen Hurts to make a jump.
The running back fumbles a lot. He fumbles a lot. I mean that's a problem. That's a big problem. And the defense is old. It's going to be a really bad season for them. Yeah, I think that things will get better after this season when they have 3 first-round picks, and some of these young guys that they're bringing in get some experience this year and get a good taste of the NFL. I think they'll be a lot better next year. But I just think this is going to be a really tough season for them.
Benny's Nation, Tyrese Maxey's a Paul Klein. Yeah, I'm aware of that. And he's got clients around the league, and he's going to try and get them all to LeBron because he grew up next door to LeBron James. It's like Entourage. Eric Murphy gets to be Vincent Chase's manager because he grew up next door to the biggest movie star in the world. There's a TV show. It's not real. But, I mean, that's exactly what it's exactly what it is. Guy fell ass backwards into managing all these clients, and he's going to manage Ben Simmons right out of the NBA. He's an idiot. Bob Brinkman, do you think the Birds can win the first 2 games? I think if they win in Atlanta, they beat the Niners. I don't know. The only glimmer of hope I see for the Eagles in week 2 is that they're making the Niners play at 1:00.
And 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row on the road.
At the link. It's 2 weeks in a row on the road. You do have a good offensive line to combat their defensive line, but I don't know. I just think that the Niners just have way more good players than the Eagles do. The Falcons, on the other hand, do not.
Well, the Falcons are not very good. But again, we don't really know if the Eagles are any good this year at all. That's the problem. I'm still stuck on what I saw last year until I see otherwise.
Last year, it's not last year, Brad.
Yeah, but I'm still stuck.
Teams go worse the first in this league all the time. Tampa Bay was 60-1 to win the Super Bowl last year, before the season. The Eagles were 40-1 when they won their Super Bowl. So, like, all this chalk that we all talk about.
The Eagles were more believable about winning that Super Bowl than. Well, Tampa Bay got Brady too, though. Don't forget, and then they got Gronkowski. So when they got all these guys by the beginning of the season, I don't know that they were 60-1, were they? In the middle of the summer last year, they were, but after they made all those acquisitions,
right before the season last year, there was a time. I mean, I don't have the archive right in front of me.
I know. I've read the ads and I've heard the ads about they were.
The consensus on Tampa last year at this time was they were going to be a 500 football team, and Tom Brady was going to fall on his face outside of Foxborough, outside of Bill Belichick. That seems to be what the majority of people that I talked to thought.
Well, he did look bad against the Titans the year before in the playoffs. That was why. He looks terrible in that game. But the Titans just overpowered the Patriots that game, too. I mean, look, at this point, yeah, there are teams that go from – I mean, San Francisco can go from literally last year from worst from one of the worst to first this year. They've got that kind of talent. But we'll see.
Don 19's in the house. Bryce Blackwell's in the house. Welcome to the party. Bryce Blackwell thinks the Giants have talent, but he doesn't know about Jones. He's ready for Sunday. Kyle Pitts is going to kill us. Bryce representing the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, okay. Like, Kyle Pitts is going to kill us. Okay. What does that mean, he's going to kill us? So, like, we don't have guys that are going to kill them and their stinky defense over there. Yes, happy Labor Day, Timothy. Hope everything's safe and well. Bryce Blackwell, the Niners are going to kill the Eagles. Like, yeah, I agree with that. I don't have a win for the Eagles in week 2. Who you guys have week 1, Dallas or Tampa? I got Tampa in an absolute roll job.
Yeah.
Dallas can't.
Dallas is not going to be able to. They may stay close in the first half, but again, Dallas has question marks on their offensive line to start the season. So we'll see. I don't see that being a close game. They still have a poor defense. I mean, last year for them, they had a historically poor defense. This year, they just have a poor defense. It's better than it was last year.
Ted, check us out on YouTube. What has Hurts shown that he's a franchise quarterback? Nothing. He had a somewhat encouraging sample size last year in 3 or 4 games where he showed that he could make splash plays. He also showed he could fumble the football. He showed he could turn the ball over.
He showed he could make bad decisions too.
And he's got wheels. He's extremely athletic. So the fact that he can make splash plays and he's athletic gives me hope that he can maybe figure this thing out and lead the Eagles to a somewhat competent season. And by the way, I mean, some people are in here talking 10, 11 wins, division championships. I can't even get there yet. I think it's Dallas's division to lose. I don't think Washington and New York are viable contenders, and I think the Eagles are going to finish second at 8-9.
You think they're going to finish ahead of Washington? Or the Giants? No. Doubtful. But you're allowed to have your opinion.
Benny's Nation, Rattler and Hal were bad. Hal even worse. Yeah, Spencer Rattler didn't look good. They beat Tulane by 5 on Saturday, and Friday night, Sam Howell and the UNC Tar Heels were a complete disaster. So neither of those
play, by the way.
Virginia Tech.
Got to do better than that against them.
I mean, they're an okay program, defense, special teams, but I mean, Brad, they couldn't even move the ball. They scored 10 points.
That's not good.
Come on, man. I'm thinking about picking you, be my franchise quarterback in the NFL. You're scoring 10 points at Virginia Tech in week 1. You out of your mind? I'm not picking him in the draft. And Spencer Rattler,
We saw some very disappointing games this week from a couple of quarterbacks who I thought were going to have very good. Penix was terrible this week, by the way, for Indiana.
Yeah, but he's not that good.
I liked him though. I thought before he got hurt last year, I thought he was really coming on. He looked terrible. He was not anywhere near the level he played at last year. How about Penn State? Nice job by them.
Yeah, it was a big win in Camp Randall at Wisconsin. Wisconsin's supposed to be really good.
Yeah, that's a big win for them.
It's a big win for Penn State. It is.
So maybe we'll have a little fun in Happy Valley this year, hopefully. Big test for Rutgers. We're going to see just how good they really are playing Syracuse. Not that Syracuse is all that at a bag of chips, but
they're better than Temple. Temple is dreadful.
Yeah, it's a significant uptick playing Syracuse than it is Temple. So we'll see about that. If they can win that game and then beat Delaware, get to 3-0, then they just have to win, I guess, 3 games in the Big Ten to make a bowl. So certainly there's the opportunity to do that. So you can make the argument for Rutgers that if they're going to have any aspirations of making a bowl game this year, they've got to win this game. because there aren't that many winnable games for them.
Not in the Big Ten, no.
No, these next two are big games for them. If they can go 3-0, there's a chance they can win 3 games in the Big Ten. They did it last year, and they might be able to do that again. I think they're going to be a little bit better this year than they were last year. So we'll see.
Atlanta has a rookie coach, no offense, but you haven't seen him yet. Atlanta's beat the Giants, can't protect their QB. Prism 280's in the house. He likes Washington this week. Yeah, I like Washington as well, Prism. Browns and Chiefs, that's going to be a great one. That is going to be a great one. I'm very high on the Cleveland Browns this year. I don't know if they have week 1. I don't know if they win that game at Arrowhead, but I'll certainly take the 6.5, 7 points that are being offered. And they might win the game.
They could.
Is that a 4 o'clock?
That's a winnable game.
Guy? We're going to go through all the games here in a second when we get through these comments.
That's a winnable game for them.
Benny Nation, he thinks Herbert surprises Skins even with Washington's defense. The Chargers have Eckler. Yeah, I know the Chargers have Austin Eckler, but, you trust him running between the tackles? I know he's a good pass catcher. You can get him on the edge. He can do some stuff for you. But is he at 20? Can he tote the rock 25 times a game and give that offense balance? I have serious concerns about that.
I think he can. I have questions about him doing that against Washington, though.
I think the Chargers are overrated. That's me. Blue City Empire Sports. I don't think I have the energy to watch the Giants game. I got to see it to believe it. Yeah, Prism Eck has a lot of great hands for running back. I get that. But sooner or later, if you want to be successful in this league, you got to have balance, and you got to have your running back be able to jam it up the middle, 15, 20, 25 times a game. Give your young quarterback balance.
It's very hard to win in the NFL without a running game. It just is. Even ask some of the other quarterbacks in the league. I mean, Mahomes couldn't win last year when the Chiefs couldn't run the ball against Tampa Bay. That seems to be. Aaron Rodgers couldn't beat Tampa Bay because he couldn't run the ball, because they couldn't run the ball. The Saints couldn't run the ball against the Packers in the playoff game. It's pretty much. If you can't run the ball and you have to throw all the time against a good team, it's very, very difficult.
Bryce, Kyle Pitts is special. He thinks Trey Lance is special. I mean, Bryce, you're throwing around the word special a lot. You got to pick and choose. When I say someone's special, I mean it, because I don't say it that much. Is Trey Lance special? I don't know. Seems like if he was that special, he'd beat out Jimmy Garoppolo for the starting quarterback gig there in San Francisco. But we'll see.
Well, they're going to start with Garoppolo, and then if Garoppolo doesn't get the job done, they've got a guy that they feel is going to be ready to take over the team. I mean, that's obviously what they did, because they don't have supreme confidence in Garoppolo.
I mean, clearly not, because they traded a bunch of capital for Trey Lance at get to what was the 3rd pick.
Correct.
So, and then, Kyle Pitts is special. Okay, cool. But I've read this book about tight ends being picked in the top 10 of the NFL draft. Not one of them's any good ever. They're all busts. 2 greatest tight ends in the history of the sport are Tony Gonzalez and Antonio Gates. They were both basketball players and barely even drafted. You probably put Gronk on that list too, and he was a 2nd-round pick, which is pretty high for a tight end.
Absolutely.
But I mean, that's not a top 10 pick.
When was Kelsey picked?
Not anything.
He wasn't in the 1st round, was he?
No.
Yeah,
so I think him and his brother, they're both. I think Kelsey was a 5th, Travis was a 5th, and Kelsey was a 6th. Jason Kelsey was a 6th for the Eagles, and Travis Kelce was a fifth for the Chiefs. So, like, these tight ends, they don't work out. Vernon Davis, bust. Kellen Winslow, bust. Eric Ebron, bust. Evan Ingram wasn't top 10, but he was first round, looking like a bust. So
he was pick number 17, though.
Really high for a tight end.
Well, I don't think they should have drafted him in the first round either, if you're asking me. But, I mean, that's neither here nor there at this point.
Don, how do you know the Giants have a horrible head coach? He hasn't even coached yet. I mean, it's my opinion. And the Giants are traditional, or the Lions are traditional for just not having a clue. No offense, Don.
The Lions actually, everybody.
His starting quarterback is Jared Goff, who's not good.
No.
Their potential bell cow running back, DeAndre Swift, he's already all sorts of banged up. I don't know what's going on with him.
Everybody is picking them to win 3-4 games this year, so it's going to be a long year in Detroit.
I just can't get behind these coaches like when Chip Kelly's with the Eagles, like these guys that try and break the mold. Joe Judge in New York. I'm not a fan. You can't have guys run six sides.
What has Joe Judge exactly done wrong, Rob?
I'm not a fan. I think he's in jeopardy of losing his football team with all this discipline stuff, with the wind sprints and the push-ups, and it's nonsense. It's not how you coach these professional athletes these days.
Parcells used to do it, and he did just fine.
Totally different era. These athletes today have no backbone.
He coached four different teams, and they all made the playoffs.
You're talking okay. When Joe Judge makes the playoffs with four different teams, I'll lay off him.
Well, this is the second year, and I thought the Giants last year certainly made progress over the last 2 years when Pat what was the hell is his name? When Pat Shurmur was there, I think they were a hell of a lot better last year, and they didn't even have Barkley last year.
Okay, your mouth to God's ears, Brad. I don't believe in Joe Judge. I don't believe in Daniel Jones. I don't believe in your offensive line. I don't believe in the New York Giants.
Offensive line, you got a point. Okay, I'm worried about their offensive line. I think that's what's going to hold them back. But I still think that they've got more than enough talent to be very competitive and definitely be right in there as far as trying to win the division. There's no reason why they can't. The NFC East is still pretty bad, so I think they could be right there.
Trump 2020, Eagles 5 wins max. I think they're a little better than that, but they might win 5 games. Blue Empire Sports, Tony Romo predicted that Zach Wilson is the next Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I would actually put stock into that comment because Tony Romo is pretty good at his.
Tony Romo's pretty good. I can't stand him because he's a Cowboy, but
yeah, he's pretty good at it.
He seems to be pretty good as far as being an analyst. So I might give him a little.
Tony Romo also had very good things to say about the Philadelphia Eagles as well. He thinks that they're going to be better than people think as well.
Again, he's not a dumb guy. He knows he's pretty.
I mean, the guy's an undrafted. He was undrafted out of Eastern Illinois. He had really good career, made a lot of money, and now he's making even more money at CBS. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, absolutely.
John Addick, I was saying Herbert has legs. Of course, you need a run game. I mean, he's not the least mobile quarterback in the league. Justin Herbert, I agree with that. He's a little bit of an underrated athlete, I think. I love just 6. He's got a cannon. I think the Chargers, they got a real great selection there to lead their franchise for years to come. Do we think the spread in the Vikings-Seahawks games is too high at 6.5? Benny, the Vikings are not playing the Seahawks. The Seahawks are at Indianapolis. The Vikings are at Cincinnati. We're going to go through all the games in a second, give you some leans. Vernon Davis wasn't a bust. I mean, Bryce, come on. for the 8th pick in the draft, 6th pick in the draft, whatever he was, to be bouncing around from team to team like that. Like, he was supposed to change the whole position at tight end. That was the draft type on him.
He was a pretty good. He's a pretty good tight end, though.
You think he lived up to the 8th pick in the draft?
He was pretty good. The only problem with him is that he got hurt. I mean, when he was healthy, he was always.
He was on a new team every year.
Yeah, but he really busted up his knee when he was with San Francisco.
Okay, like that makes you a bust.
Well, I think he's had a pretty good career. I mean, look, is he a first round pick from what was he, an 8th round, the number 8 pick? No, he's not. He probably hasn't lived up to that, but he's been a pretty good player.
Bill Middlebrook says Travis Kelce was a 3rd rounder.
3rd rounder?
Still not a top 10 guy, and he's one of the greatest tight ends of all time.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. That's for sure.
John Malmos, my favorite teams are 1-1 this weekend, and my 3rd didn't play yet. We are Penn State. Birds pull upset 23-21. We'll need this win. I think it's going to be a little higher scoring than that, John. But I like where your head's at. At least you have the Eagles winning. I think it was me and Tom Arnone are the only people that think the Eagles are going to win this weekend. I don't get it. I don't understand how nobody at this station, I understand because you're a New York loser, but all these other guys, are you kidding me? They can't beat the Falcons in Atlanta, a team that was worse than you last year and got worse in the offseason? We good? We good?
You were 4-11-1 last year, so
yeah. But the Eagles had the 6th pick, and the Atlanta had the 4th pick.
What was Atlanta 4-12?
Maybe they're worse than the Eagles. See that tie? You're making fun of the tie against Cincinnati. John Addock, Jamar Chase will be a bust. I completely disagree. I think Jamar Chase is going to be an absolute stud in this league. Hopefully he avoids suspension with these legal trouble rumors he has about beating up his girlfriend. But I would put 0 stock into having a couple of bad practices at Cincinnati Bengals training camp. 0. Eagles 9 wins for the season. Okay. Bill Middlebrook, if the over-under was 5.5 instead of 6.5 before the game, I'd take the over. They will be 6-5 and go 3-3 and wind up 9-8. What? Then you just bet the over. It's 6.5, Bill. If you think they're going to be 9-8, which is loftier expectations than I have them, take over 6.5. Win yourself some money. What are you fretting that it's not 5.5 for? You have them going 9-8. Fire away. Fire at will. Load those missiles, baby.
I don't think that Bill has. I think that he's more hopeful than what he really thinks is going to happen. I think he's thinking more along the lines of they could go 9-8. Yeah, they could. I mean, you can never say never with anything. When it comes to the NFL, but that's a long shot.
I don't know how much of a long shot it is. I don't know. Look at the Washington football team. They have the first place schedule. We're going to play Green Bay. They're going to play Seattle, and they're going to play Buffalo. Those are 3 losses. The entire NFC East has to play Kansas City. The entire division is going to lose to Kansas City. The entire division has to play Tampa Bay. The entire division is going to lose to Tampa Bay. Every team in the that's 5 losses already for Washington football team.
That's 5 losses for.
As the Eagles, instead of in Seattle, they play San Francisco.
Oh, they're going
5
to lose
losses for Washington.
They're going to lose that game too, though. They're not going to beat San Francisco.
Okay, but instead of playing the Bills, the Eagles play the Jets.
That's a big. Okay, that one you're right about.
Instead of playing the Packers like the Washington football team has to, the Eagles are going to play the Lions. This is why no one ever repeats in the NFC East, because the NFC has stunk for at least the last 5 years, and the first place team draws the first place schedule, and they can't hack it. It happens why Washington's not going to repeat. It's not going to happen. And the Giants stink. So it's the Eagles and the Cowboys, in my opinion.
Okay.
Dallas, Washington, Philadelphia, New York Eagles win 6 to 8 games. Look, I know Dallas is looking bleak right now, but I mean, if they don't do it this year, I never want to hear from them again. I never want to hear from Dallas again. If Dallas can't put together 10 games and take this shitty division, they should be, what do they call it in soccer?
Relegated?
They got relegated. Yes.
Relegated.
Dallas should be relegated if they don't win this division. Because I've been on record with their defense. Well, the reason is I know they have problems with Dak's shoulder, and I know they have problems up front, which is not good at all. But I think that their defense is going to be better this year. I think switching from a 4-3 from a 3-4 is going to fit their personnel better. And I think
it couldn't be any worse, could it?
I mean, you're going to go from they're going to go from like the worst defense ever, letting up all these yards and all these points and not knowing their ass from their elbow and just stinking.
They could go from
like a middle of the pack defense.
I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get that good, but listen, if their defense can be like number 20 and Dak stays healthy, all of us are going to have a hard time finishing ahead of them.
Bill Middlebrook, Brad, you must have loved the Rays comeback today. Yeah, the Red Sox blew yet.
That was a classic. We've been just trying to give the Red Sox second place. We're trying to help you guys out. I mean, we lose 2 to Baltimore, and then we get smoked by Toronto, and the Red Sox are still a half a game behind, which is kind of funny when you think about it. I mean, shit, we better watch out because the Mariners are starting to close in on both the Yankees and the Red Sox. The Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays are closing in. Could you imagine if those two teams stole the 2 wild cards? The way things are going right now.
Line with what they did. I love that GM out there. I think he's really smart.
Epler?
With Seattle.
Yeah, he's done. Listen, Seattle has done.
What's his name? Depoto?
Depoto.
Yeah, he's really smart. He ripped off the Mets for Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano. I thought he made a couple of unpopular but necessary moves for a smaller market team like Seattle at the trade deadline. J.P. Crawford, he can't really hit consistently, but he's a tremendous fielder who came over from Philadelphia.
He's actually hit a little bit better in Seattle than he did in Philly too.
Well, that's not surprising because the Phillies can't manage.
Talent.
He's
been okay there. He's been okay there, but Mitch Haniger is still a very good player. You know, France has improved big time. You know, Seattle still needs, that big thumper in the middle of the lineup. I mean, that's the one thing that they don't have that they need to get. If they had a guy like, say, Nelson Cruz in the middle of their lineup, that would be enough to make them an extremely dangerous baseball team.
All right, Brad, let's go through the games. We'll talk about all the games right now, then we'll get into some baseball. Let me bring the lines up here.
Okay, I have lines too here. I don't know if they're the same, but we'll see.
Mine are from the DraftKings Sportsbook.
Okay, this is from Caesars. So, okay, so we could start with the Cowboys and Buccaneers, and
now that game that's up to 8.
Yeah, I have 7.5 right now. It started at Buccaneers -6, and now it's 7.5 at Caesars and 8 at DraftKings.
I'll lay the 8. I don't know. 8's a lot, but
I'll take the Cowboys and the
Dallas suck. You'll take the Dallas Cowboys and the 8 points.
Yeah, I'll take the 8 points.
Yeah, I'm really worried about them up front.
I hear you, but it is, you know what? It's opening night. I think that the Cowboys will keep it relatively close and be competitive. I mean, I think they'll score some points.
They should score some points. I mean, they have the personnel to score some points. 8's a lot. I might have
Bill
to take
Middlebrook. You want to talk about two guys that exceed the Rays payroll? The Red Sox also have two guys that exceed the Rays payroll, and you're in no position as a Red Sox fan to say anything about payroll. Your team always has one of the highest payrolls in the league, so that's just a silly thing to say. We do need a real manager, though. I would agree about that. I think the manager is the big problem with the Yankees.
They want you to take the then he says they want you to take the 8. I'll take Tampa to cover. I hate laying that many points.
Yeah, I just feel like that's a lot of points.
All right, getting to Sunday, a big one up in Buffalo, Orchard Park. Steelers traveling to take on the Buffalo Bills. 6.5 point spread, 49 over under. Brad, I'll take the dog here. I like the Steelers. I like the Steelers to potentially win this game, and I'm getting 6.5 points. It's an absolute no-brainer.
I agree. I don't think they're going to win the game, but I think 6.5 points is more than enough to cover the spread, especially week 1.
I think this Najee Harris for Pittsburgh is going to be the remedy to a lot of their issues they had last year. And they made the playoffs last year, Brad. Steelers have had 17 straight winning seasons, or 17 straight seasons without a losing record.
That's pretty remarkable.
Which is unbelievable.
Especially in the NFL.
So I'm going to take the Steelers plus 6.5. Wouldn't surprise me at all if they won this game. Look, Buffalo, did Buffalo get any better from last year? I just don't know what Buffalo did. I mean, you have Josh Allen. You sign him to a bunch of money. Devin Singletary and Zach Moss running the ball. I don't know about that. No real tight end. You have Diggs, obviously. But is Diggs going to have 1,400 yards receiving again? I don't know about that. I don't know.
They're still a very good football team.
They have a great coach in Sean McDermott, who I love, a Jim Johnson disciple. He was here in Philadelphia for years and years. He got a chance in Carolina.
Didn't they draft a receiver in the first round, or did they not? I can't remember now.
No, I don't think they picked a receiver.
Yeah, I can't remember. They did pick up another receiver in the offseason. I just don't remember who it was. I have to look it up.
But I mean, look, they're going to win the East better than you have Josh Allen and McDermott. That's just a better combination that no one in the East can match. So you're going to win the East, but I think Bills Mafia really needs to pump the brakes on, these Super Bowl expectations. I'm not so sure that they're on that level.
They're pretty good. I mean, I think they're going to win the division. I think they'll win a playoff game. I think they'll definitely be in the one of the last 4 teams standing as far as the AFC is concerned. They might be. I
don't know about that. I think Cleveland's good. I think Kansas City's good. I think Pittsburgh's good. Buffalo's good. I think Tennessee and Indianapolis are good. So I'm not so sure that that's a lock for them to be in an AFC title game. I'm just not sure about that.
No. When I say top 4, I'm talking about top 4 teams in the AFC. Not in the NFL.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I didn't say. I just want to make sure.
That's fine.
Yeah, I think in the AFC. You've got Tennessee, the Chiefs, and then this is not in any necessarily in any order. The Browns, the Bills. Okay, I think those are the top 4, and you've got the Ravens as well, who are a good football team. So there's to me that's probably your top 5 teams in the AFC right now. I'm not sold on the Colts.
Then you get San Francisco traveling to Detroit, 7-point line. I'm actually going to take the 7 here. Detroit's a bad football team. I can't really dispute that. They are a bad football team, but these teams with new coaches and bad football teams, their spirits are up week 1.
I agree. That's why it'd be very hard to give up that many points. I think Detroit's going to give them a run for their money.
So I'll take the 7, and I'll just hope for the best.
Yeah, that wouldn't be one of the games I would bet if I was a betting man.
The Niners better not hiccup here, because I'm sure Niners fans out there, they
can't afford to hiccup against the Lions.
I'm sure they're looking at Detroit, at Philadelphia for their first 2 games.
If you're a Niner fan and you're not 2-0 after the first 2 games, you're going to be pissed off. I mean, if I was
you need all the wins you can get. I mean, that division's really good.
Yeah, if I'm a Niner fan and I'm looking at my schedule, I've got 2-0 written all over it. If I'm not 2-0 after the first 2 games, I'm sitting there saying, "Uh-oh, this is going to be a bad season."
Yeah, because you didn't play Seattle yet, you didn't play the Rams yet.
Nope.
Cardinals. I'm not a believer in Kingsbury and Kyler Murray, but they're certainly a tougher out than
they're good at home.
The Eagles and the Lions are going to be.
The Cardinals are good at home. That's what they are. So they can't be losing. They can't be losing those first 2 games. I don't think they're going to cover a 7-point spread. I just don't. I think it's going to take their offense a little while to get on track. So I can see it being a close game.
Next game on the slate here, the Eagles traveling to Atlanta. I'm getting 3.5 points. This is a game I'll 100% be betting on. I'm taking the Eagles plus 3.5.
No, I would take this. I would take the 3.5, but I don't think.
Even if you don't think the Eagles are going to win,
no.
If they get blown out by Atlanta, Brad, that'll be not good.
I don't think they're going to get blown
for anything. That'll be not good for Jalen Hurts, Sirianni.
I think it's going to be. I could see like a 19-17 kind of game.
Yeah, I think there's going to be points in this game. The over-under's at 48.5. I love the over. I love the over more than Eagles plus 3.5, I think.
And then again, it is inside, so the weather's going to be perfect.
You got a dome. You got a mobile quarterback in Philadelphia. Matt Ryan's old, but he still can throw it. Calvin Ridley's pretty good. Maybe if Kyle Pitts is half as good as Bryce Blackwell thinks, there should be points in that game. I'm thinking like a 31-30 Eagles win, 32-29, something.
Yeah,
something
no, listen. I would take the 3.5. Whenever you have 2 awful teams playing against each other, I like the team that's getting points.
Here's an interesting game, Brad. The Seattle Seahawks are going to Indianapolis to play the Colts. The Colts are 2.5-point home underdogs. I like the Colts.
Who's not playing for the Colts? Somebody's not playing for the Colts.
Well, you still have to see what's going on with Carson and Nelson, their best offensive linemen.
Okay, yeah, those are the 2 guys that's what I'm saying. I know they're.
It sounds like Carson's going to play. I haven't heard anything about Nelson, but if Nelson and Wentz are in this football game, I
would take the Colts if that was the case. I would have to tell you Sunday after I see who's playing.
If Wentz and Nelson are in there, that's disrespectful to have a perennial playoff team like the Colts, really good roster top to bottom, good running game, franchise quarterback, at least in my opinion, Carson Wentz is a franchise quarterback when he's healthy. Really good defense, one of the best linebackers in the league. That's
the Colts are a good team.
That's super disrespectful for them to be home dog.
And Seattle last year, towards the end of the season, was really starting to fall apart.
Well, this is what Seattle does. Seattle peaks in October and November, and then they haven't been up to snuff in January and December without the Legion of Boom. They shoot their
And
load.
they usually don't start well in September either.
So I mean, I like the Colts there, but I'll take the home dog plus 2.5.
Yeah, well, the Colts, that's a legitimate. I would take that. That's a legitimate type of a game to take the points. Now we also have the Tennessee Titans, and they are facing the
Cardinals. I have that at minus.
Looks like it's -3.
I have minus 2.5 on DraftKings. Something's fishy about this line. I agree with you that the Titans should win this football game.
If it's 2.5, I'm all over the. I mean, 2.5. Are you
2.5 right here?
All right. Well, if you want to take 2.5, that's my.
I'm not betting. I will not bet my hard-earned money on this game at all.
That would be my strongest play. I think that's an easy.
Yeah, I'm not. I can't. If I had to, I would take plus 2.5 with a 52 over. 52 over under.
Yeah,
it just seems like unless maybe Vegas is just overvaluing Kyler Murray because he's a super athlete. I don't know what to make of that line yet.
But you know what? Here's the thing: the Tennessee Titans have played against a guy who is the same player as Kyler Murray, and Kyler Murray is not as good as Lamar Jackson. Okay, they played against.
He can throw better.
No, I'm not even going to give him that.
Lamar Jackson stinks at throwing. He can't throw the ball.
He's okay.
No, he's not.
I think he's gonna be better this year now that he's got some.
Well, this is really a make or break year for Lamar Jackson throwing the football.
I mean, losing Dobbins is a tough loss.
They lost another running back today too. I just read.
Who? Which one?
Torn Achilles. Justice Hill.
So that means it's going to be Gus Edwards then.
It's going to be Gus Edwards, and they're looking at guys like Gurley and Le'Veon Bell to bring in to fill the void.
Gurley, I could see being a.
I can't believe he's not on the team.
Huh?
I can't believe he's not on a team. Todd Gurley.
Because he's got arthritis in his knee.
I get it, but man, I watched him at Georgia. I thought he was the greatest thing since sliced bread.
He was until he got hurt, but he can't carry the ball that much. That's the problem. You know, if you can get him and he runs the ball maybe 5 to 10 times a game, I think then you might have something there. I mean, Gus Edwards. I think the thing with Gus Edwards is good if he. Is good when he's not an every down running the ball kind of player, you know, because he's big and he's a load to bring down.
I don't know. So you like the Titans?
I love the Titans in this situation. See, I like you. I'm not a big fan of Murray. I don't think Murray. I think if Murray has to throw the ball as far as he can to DeAndre Hopkins, he'll catch the ball. I mean, because DeAndre Hopkins is DeAndre Hopkins. But, you know, Kyler Murray putting a ball right on the money, you know, in traffic, I don't think you're going to see that guy. You know, if Kyler Murray has to put the ball in a spot, I don't think he can do that. So, and against that team, against that defense, and then having that Titans
defense wasn't any good last year.
It got better as the season went along, and it's going to be a lot better this year. And I think with their offense, with the weapons they have, I mean, the one thing the Cardinals couldn't stop anybody last year. That was a big problem for them.
No, I think Cliff Kingsbury stinks.
Yeah, and I think that having to stop that running game and then having to stop Jones, I mean, that's going to be almost impossible for that team.
All right, Carolina hosting the New York Jets. Carolina's laying 5.5. I really like the Panthers here. I'll lay the 5.5, no problem.
I agree.
No problem.
Yeah.
I really want the Panthers to be good. I love Matt Rule. I love Joe Brady. I'm really rooting for Sam Darnold. I just noticed that Sam Darnold's going to be playing his old team in his debut for his new team. So
and you know that he's going to be ready to play.
I mean, but he's got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson now. Christian McCaffrey is his running back.
Well, in case you forgot, Robbie Anderson was his favorite receiver when he was with the Jets.
It's very true.
So I mean,
Carolina might be something this year. I really do.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm rooting for Sam Darnold because I think he's a good guy, and he took all the blame when he was with the Jets. He never made any excuses. I do think the guy has talent, and I think Carolina is a good spot for him to get him out of New York and try to resurrect his career. Hit the reset button. I think this is a good spot for him, and I think against the Jets and the Jets defense, he should have no problem. He certainly saw enough of them in practice the last few years, so that might be maybe my other 10-star bet.
We have the Chargers. We touched on this game earlier too. Chargers visiting the Washington football team. Washington football team's getting 1 point.
I'm going to go with the Chargers.
I don't think the Chargers have the stones to.
Listen, it's a hope pick for me. I just hope that they can find a way to knock that team off.
So you're releasing 2 10-star bets.
I got 2
10-star
bets.
You get my 2 10-star.
Yeah, those are my 2 10-star bets. But I love Carolina. I mean, that's a perfect spot for them.
I like Washington. All right, Minnesota is traveling to Cincinnati. Cincinnati is a home dog of 3 points. I mean, Minnesota is better than them, right?
I would think so. Listen, last week I was killing Minnesota, so I can't sit here this week and say, "Oh, they're wonderful." I don't think that Minnesota is any good. But
Alvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Thielen, Kirk Cousins. I mean, that's not a tragic group of core guys.
No, but the rest of the team kind of fell off the proverbial cliff last season, especially towards the end of the season.
Well, their defense was dreadful.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they'll beat Cincinnati, though.
Yeah, I think
they're better. I just think they're a better team than Cincinnati.
You gotta think so.
I hate home.
Rob, who was it last year that they lost to that was totally, totally dreadful at the beginning of the season at home? So they lost to somebody that they got slaughtered by at home last year.
Bengals?
Was it the Bengals?
What are you talking about? The Bengals or the Vikings?
No, about Minnesota. I just can't remember. It was when they had that 5-game losing streak to start the season. One of those losses was against a god-awful football team. I just can't remember who it was. But it was a home game, and it was against somebody who was really, really bad.
No, I think they're going to get off to a better start this season. They might make the playoffs. NFC Wild Card is going to be it's going to be interesting because the NFC is pretty weak, which we discussed last week.
I agree with you.
So I think some really average teams are going to have chances to grab some wild card spots.
Yeah,
so we'll see. I think the Vikings would be in that.
The Vikings should have an easy schedule because they finished third.
And who they take? I think they took Kwity Paye in the draft, so that helps their defense. So I mean, I'll lay the 3 with Minnesota there. Trevor Lawrence makes his debut in Houston. Texans are 3-point home dogs.
Who's quarterbacking for the Texans, by the way?
Tyrod Taylor. They announced it today. I'm out on the Texans. I'll take. I think the Trevor Lawrence era starts with a bang.
Yeah,
I hate going against home dogs, but the Texans
they're atrocious.
They're just a mess.
Yeah, they're atrocious.
You know
what? I'll give Jacksonville the benefit of the doubt this time, but I wouldn't bet that game with a 20-foot pole. I would avoid that kind of game.
There was a prop that I liked. The prop of the week. Let me see if it changed or not. How do I get back to the props?
We didn't get the Packers and the Saints.
No, we'll get there. Okay, we'll talk about that game. Who do you think's going to win that game?
You know what? Where is the game being played? That's what I'd like to know.
Excellent question.
Frank and I were talking about that.
I'm fairly certain, like the Saints are the home team.
Yeah, but is the game at the Superdome though?
I don't think it is.
Yeah,
because of the problems they've been having there.
The problem with the hurricane, I mean, kind of destroyed a lot of stuff. So that's what I'm wondering. I mean, I don't know where the game's being played. If the game's not at the Superdome, you know what? I still think the Saints will cover the spread. The Saints are getting 4.5.
So the game's in Jacksonville.
It's in Jacksonville.
Correct.
That's not that far a drive for. That's not really a far drive for the Saint fans, to be honest with you. I mean, Louisiana, you just have to go across Alabama. Isn't Jacksonville on the Panhandle?
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, and they're kind of on the Panhandle too. So, I mean, that's still a home game for the Saints. You know what? I'll take the Saints and the 4.5. I don't think the Saints are going to be as bad as people think.
No, I think we both had them as wild card.
Yeah, I think they're going to be okay, and they've got to want to come out and beat Green Bay after that devastating loss last season. So.
$4.5. Yeah, the Packers are I hate going against home dogs, but I mean this really isn't like a home game. Packers are really good.
They are. But
I'm going to take the Packers.
The Saints do have a good defense.
I don't feel good about it though.
I don't feel good about that game at all. Either way, to be honest with you, that's a tough one to play.
And then we got a few games left here. We'll be out of here at 9:15. Flight Zone will take over. I'm sure they have a lot of good football stuff to talk about. Ben Simmons stuff. Maybe some Phillies. Big win today for the Phillies.
12-0.
Yeah, roughed up Woodruff, which doesn't make any sense because the bums the Marlins throw out there, they look like Cy Young. It's crazy.
What is it with the Phillies? They have to play good teams in order to win. Is that
they
the
just stink, Brad? They just stink.
How do you lose 2 out of 3 to the Marlins? You lose 3 straight in Arizona. You lose 3 out of 4, or was it 2 out of 3 against the Pirates? But then you go into Milwaukee and you win 12-0.
2-6. They were 2-6.
You won 2 out of 3 in Boston. I mean, what is with that team?
They're 2-6. They had 8 games against the Diamondbacks after the All-Star break. They went 2-6.
It makes no sense.
They just stink. They just stink, and they're not going to win the division.
It's good to see that Zach Wheeler came back and really pitched an outstanding game, even though he only pitched 6 innings. I mean, he pitched real well today. And,
Did we talk about the Browns and the Chiefs yet?
No, we have not. And the line is.
I like the Browns. I like the Browns +6. The over/under's 53. High total. Give me the dog. Give me the Browns.
I'll take the Browns too. Remember the Browns are playing the Chiefs. This time Odell Beckham is in the lineup. Okay, he was not in the lineup last year. I think that's going to be the difference. Now, I'm looking. I know. I'm saying this because people are going to think because I'm a Giant fan, but I'm still mad at Odell Beckham at the way he played himself off the Giants. But he's still a great player, and you know what? The difference between having him for Cleveland and not having him, I think, is where they're going to. I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs actually lost to the Browns.
They might.
I mean,
the Browns are an extremely live dog.
The Super Bowl hangover, losing a Super Bowl, the hangover the next season can be pretty significant. So I would take the Browns. And you know what? I could see them winning straight up. If you're getting good odds on that, wouldn't be a bad.
All right, here's
play.
here's one of my 10-star plays. New England in Foxborough -3 over the Dolphins. I think Tua stinks. I think Brian Flores stinks. I think Miami stinks. I think the most valuable asset the Eagles have going into the offseason is going to be that Miami Dolphin first-round pick because I don't think they're very good.
They've gotten better and better
here.
They've gotten better and better the last couple of years.
I love New England here.
They've always given New England fits.
This is in Foxborough. I think that Mac Jones, even though I'm not sold on Mac Jones, I'm way more sold on Mac Jones than I am Cam Newton. Cam Newton can't play anymore in this league.
I would agree with you.
So that's an upgraded quarterback position. The Patriots signed a lot of guys in the offseason. They had a ton of cap space. They signed Matt Judon from Baltimore. They signed Aguilar from Vegas. They signed Jalen Mills from the Eagles. They have Jacoby Myers. They have 2 running backs I really like, and Damian Harris and Lamondre Stevenson, a rookie out of Oklahoma. They have a pretty good offensive line. They have 2 pretty good tight ends. I think the Patriots are going to be just fine in this game. We'll see how their season outlook I'm not so sure about because of Mac Jones and uncertain. But I love the Patriots this weekend.
Well, you would have to think that Belichick has had all summer to put together a new football team. And they probably went shopping, and they probably let him be the shopper and the cook this year. So I would have to think that I can't imagine Belichick's teams are going to be bad 2 years in a row. And you know what? I think this might be a tough spot for Tua to open the season in New England. I guess you do have to give New England the slight edge there, and they should be able to win this game. And I think I happen to agree with you. I do think they'll cover.
There's a few games left here. Your Giants, they're at home. They're hosting the Broncos. They're 3-point dogs.
Yeah, I like the Giants. I think the Giants are going to win the game.
I guess. I've gone against way too many home dogs.
Yeah, I like the Giants. I like the Giants, especially getting 3 points.
It's only a 42 total. It's only a 42 total. I love favorites. I love favorites with low totals like that.
Well, because you have 2 teams that are questionable offensively and 2 teams with good defenses. So I'm going to take the Giants. Denver has never really been a great road team, and I think that trend is going to continue. I wouldn't bet them.
That's a good point. They're much better at home than they are.
Yeah, if the Giants were playing in Denver, I wouldn't bet the Giants to go into Denver and win there. I think at home, I think they find a way to win.
Sunday night, getting in the primetime slate now. Bears going to the Rams. Andy Dalton starting.
Oh, I think the Rams are going to smoke them. The line here says 7, -7.
I have 7.5 here on DraftKings.
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to smoke them.
I agree with you, Bill Middlebrook. Denver is a good team. The only question mark is a quarterback. I picked the Giants to go to the Broncos to go to the playoffs last week, grabbing that 7 seed in the AFC. So I'm in on Brian Denver. I recognize what they're doing, and if Teddy Bridgewater can go out there and not lose them football games, I think they'll be able to do some things.
But Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have Kamara on his team, nor does he have the Saint receivers on his team.
No, but they have Judy. They have Javonte Williams, who I like. He's a rookie out of UNC. They have Melvin Gordon still. Noah Fant's a decent tight end.
The Giants secondary is very strong.
We're gonna figure it out on Sunday. And then next Monday night, a game we'll be live reacting to. The Las Vegas Raiders are hosting the Baltimore Ravens. Only one game on Monday night this year. I love the Monday night doubleheader to start the season.
Yeah, it's a shame. that they're doing that, but
Like,
whatever. It is.
I'm taking the Raiders here. I'm taking the Raiders here, +4.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. You know what? I'm gonna have to go with the. I was thinking about this. I know that the last year the Raiders got off to a good start. I remember they did beat the New Orleans Saints at home on a Monday night. I do remember that too.
They beat the Chiefs too early in the season last year, right?
They beat the Chiefs twice, I think, didn't they?
Once for sure.
I think they beat them twice last year.
You might be right.
If they didn't beat them, it was an extremely close second game. But I thought they won twice.
I think Lamar gets figured out this year, and I think the Baltimore Ravens don't.
He might get figured out, but the Raiders' defense is just horrendous.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have to figure. Look, they don't have a run game. Baltimore, their receivers are still suspect. Pretty good tight end in Mark Andrews, and they'll be physical on defense. I don't know. I think this is an interesting spot for the Raiders to pull an upset. I really do. I don't think the Ravens are that great this year.
Yeah, no, I still have a lot of faith in the Ravens. I would take the Ravens and give up points. I think they're going to find a way to win this game.
All right.
These are games that the Ravens, if they're going to make the playoffs, these are the kind of games they got to win. They can't be losing to the Raiders. Their schedule's too tough.
I don't know. I'm taking the 4. I won't commit to an outright win, but I will take the 4 points. That'll do it for us on the Sports Hounds. Flight Zone's coming up next. Thank you to everyone who liked our show, commented on our show, share our show. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the show. Thank you for our great sponsors, Johnny Coyle down at All Campus on the Ocean City Boardwalk. Thank you to Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, Body Check Wellness, Sunrise Detox Center. Don't forget about Alan Foy, eXp Realty. So next week we'll have real live NFL action to break down and talk about. Until then, he's Brad Ryer.
Should be a lot of fun.
He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Peace out, everybody.